Let's get started!
Clever comrade. I want to do crime.
Okay, deadline, go do some crime.
But what crime should I do?
I don't know. Just make sure it's not robbery. Robbery is too mainstream in MHA.
How about punch a mountain goat and force it to eat fish?
Deadline, you better tone that down. That's too evil. Okay, while you're thinking of some other crime to do, I'm gonna go do some ranting for a while. Okay, here we go. MHA chapter 389. It's incredibly short, and over a half of it are just random side characters reacting to Sunbut's shenanigans. Now do take note that this will not be a full recap. We are just gonna be ranting about things that don't make sense. But before we start, let me say a little something. So in the previous chapter, there are these UA service bots that are supposedly designed to follow any human order. It got me wondering. If they are designed to obey humans, what about mutants and heteromorphs? These guys don't look like regular humans. So would the robots obey them or not? If this guy went in and ordered a command on one of these, would the robot obey him? I don't know. But seeing as these bots are always never present in major evacuation and rescue missions, it's pretty much safe to say that no, they don't have mutant recognition systems. They'll just ignore mutants altogether. Also, what do the bots mean by they exist just to serve human desires? Is it what I think it is? Okay, that's enough UA service bot bullshit. Let's go start with the rant. So about chapter 389. So yeah, it's an incredibly short chapter at only 11 pages. Now while it has the same page count as the previous chapter, but in terms of actual content, 389 barely has any content. Like I said earlier, most of the chapter is pretty much just reaction panels. Anyways, since there's barely any content in this chapter, there are also barely any rantable stuff. In fact, there's only one major bullshit in this chapter, alongside two minor questionable shits. But since we are an MHA rant channel and we need to upload a weekly rant because reasons, these will have to do. So naturally, of course, let's go start nitpicking on the minor questionable things first before the massive f***ing bullshit later on in the chapter. Okay, let's start with Sunbut's heat field. So the main big thing about the heat bomb in this chapter is that its rate of expansion is now slowing down because these people over here are icing it up. I just gotta ask, what about Sunbut's own nice powers? If these ice over here are supposedly powering down the heat bomb, then shouldn't his own ice be powering him down too? And on the topic of powering down heat bombs, what about the rain? There's a massive downpour going on. If solid water can slow down the heat bomb, then shouldn't liquid water be able to help out too? I mean, it's technically still water, just in a different state of matter. But anyways, there's very little context in this scene anyway. Maybe the creator is planning something here. So I'll let some stuff slide for now. Okay, now let's move on to the next minor rantable stuff. The Sunbut humanization. So yeah, this guy suddenly got a humanization scene. In the previous chapters we already got the happy baby pictures and even a what if scenario. Now there's this humanization scene that comes with a built-in sob story. Yeah. With this, Sunbut finally completed the requirements for MHA's villain redemption system. He's gonna get saved. Yeah, it's gonna be a massive f*** you to all his victims, but hey, he completed the requirements and that's that. These 3 points are pretty much the same things the creator used in Redeeming Marksman. Humanization scenes, sob stories, and happy baby pics. Meanwhile, on the other side, there's fellow Reptile. He only has 2 points checked out of the 3 requirements. He's got no happy baby pictures. And as a result, no one tried to save him. Yeah, this guy's gonna go rot in jail forever. So anyways, that's pretty much how the MHA villain redemption system works. As long as you have a sob story, some happy baby pictures, and at least one humanization scene, you can literally do any crime you want and heroes will still forgive you for everything. Okay, so those are pretty much the minor shits. Let's get on to the only major bullshit in this chapter. So the major bullshit is basically all the reaction panels. Not because of the way they are drawn or how they are just nonsensical filler, but because the creator's Sunbit favoritism is showing once again. And it's making some things incredibly silly. I mean, just look at all these reaction panels. Notice how they're all framed to give off feelings of looming dread and hopelessness, as if Sunbit will end the world. It's just panel after panel after panel of hopelessness. Hell, there's even a panel set in another country with some person praying. Take note that all of these scenes are just referring to Sunbit, who's pretty much just a mini boss about to blow up 5 kilometers of wilderness. Okay, now compare these reactions to how the good guys react to the literal demon lord of MHA right in this final battle. And right off the bat the difference is obvious. Deadline, and by extension Handaman, don't get any reaction panels framed like these. In fact, all the reaction panels on Deadline pretty much just boils down to how the heroes will never give up, and will keep fighting to the very end. And if there are scenes where the heroes are fearing Deadline, they are very very few and not treated as seriously by the plot. So yeah. The favoritism is pretty much clear and making everything silly. The heroes have no problem giving it all they've got against world-ending threats. But when it comes to a delusional pyromaniac about to blow up 5 kilometers of trees, they suddenly all feel hopeless and start praying and saying sorry instead of just doing something about it. This gets even sillier when you realize that literally the only reason why Sunbit is currently at this superpowered form is because heroes, except this guy, just won't seriously attack him. They either just stood around or just ignored him altogether. At this point I just gotta ask. If the Japanese heroes just won't deal with Sunbit, then why not just send in the American laser jets to handle him? These planes have been useless since the start of the final battle, why not give them some use? I mean, they're already closer to Gunga Mountain than Flash is, so why even bother calling the guy in the first place? But of course that's not going to happen. The only plane that should arrive at Gunga Mountain is Flash's jet. And speaking of Flash's jet, so yeah, Flash can turn into a jet now. Hooray. Overall, Chapter 389. Yeah, nothing much happened here, the plot didn't advance, and most of the chapter are just reaction panels. But hey, for once Sunbit did not get a f***ing power up in this chapter. In fact, you could even say it's a power down, seeing how easily the heat bomb gets countered by basic ice. So yeah, I'm delighted. But as a whole, what I found the most odd in this chapter is this random out of place cafe scene in the Philippines. Not only this is the only reaction panel in chapter 389 not set in Japan, but there aren't even any relevant characters in the Philippines, quite unlike in the US. So why is there this scene in the Philippines? So to answer this, I did some digging around the internet. Apparently, there's a Voltus 5 live-action television adaptation that recently started airing in the Philippines. Maybe the creator watched a few episodes of it and decided to make a random panel set there? Maybe. I dunno. Alright, Deadline, I'm done ranting. Have you thought of the perfect crime?
Not yet.
How about step on the grass, or remove all the slippery when wet signs, or mess with some traffic lights?
Clever, comrade. I have an idea.
Okay, what is it?
How about we steal the protein formula? What do you think?
Deadline, that's just a basic robbery. But since I'm already hungry, and lunchtime is still 3 hours away, let's go. I'll join you in your crime.
Now we're talking. Let's go.
If we join forces and combine our might, we'll have the strength to steal it!
Oh, by the way, if there are people still watching up to this point, please don't tell Mr. Krabs about this.